On this episode, we dive into the topic of Thai nominees in foreign-controlled businesses.
So if you're wondering if the current crackdown is going to affect you, you'll love this episode of the Bangkok podcast.
Sawadee krap, and welcome to the Bangkok podcast. My name is Greg Jorgensen, a Canadian who came to Bangkok in 2001 because I got into a fight online with a Canadian prime minister and he tracked me down and kept throwing snowballs at me on my way to work. Sure.
That's not very nice.
I know.
And I met Knuth, an American who came to Thailand on a one-year teaching contract over 25 years ago. Fell in love with seeing crap omelets on every Thai breakfast menu, so I never left.
You know, our friend Dan Fraser, who's been on the show before as a guest, he's got a theory called the breakfast of least resistance about like Thai restaurants that just do like the absolute minimum.
Oh, funny.
The American breakfast. Here's your couple of crappy sausages and your shitty eggs and a couple of soggy pieces of ham, and off you go.
That's definitely a thing. Now, most listeners will know my joke, but in case you're not sure what a crap omelet is, it has to do with the fact that there's no standard way to transliterate Thai into English, and crab omelets are quite popular with Thai people, but in English they often spell crab crap.
Oh, I didn't even get that. I thought you were talking about a crap omelet, like the one that they fry in oil and is really greasy.
Funny.
And gross.
Oh, that's funny. So you didn't even get my
I
joke.
Didn't even.
No,
No, too deep.
Well, I just remember in my early days in Thailand, not understanding, not really trying to figure out, on the menu it says CRAP omelet. I'm like, what could a crap omelet possibly be?
This reminds me a bit of a tangent here. It reminds me of something like it's like a lexicon thing, or like a language worm that sort of worked its way. But way back in the 70s, back when Bangkok's party districts and red light districts were on Petpuri Road instead of Sukhumvit Road, like they are today, there was the term where like prostitutes or working girls were called curry girls, or
oh really?
Or the word curry was associated with them, as in like they're spicy girls or something.
Oh, I never heard that.
And so like that carried through over the decades, and even now, like sometimes, very rarely, I've seen pictures of it on a menu. It'll say like whore rice or something like
shit.
that.
Oh my God. That's great. That's classic.
Yeah, like whore crab or something like that, because they want.
Oh my God, that's
like
classic.
they're using translation software that's not connecting the context.
Oh, that's fantastic. No, yeah, we should
look into that a bit.
We should track that down. That's actually kind of priceless.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, sorry to derail you. Back to our regularly scheduled program.
We want to give a big thanks to all of our patrons who support the show. Patrons get every episode a day early, behind-the-scenes photos of our interviews, a heads up to send questions to upcoming guests, and access to our Discord server to chat with me, Craig, and other listeners around the world. But best of all, patrons also get an unscripted, uncensored bonus episode every week where we riff on current events and Bangkok topics. On this week's bonus show, we chatted about an upcoming bike ride that Greg is doing with a large group, a chat about a new auto-translate app Greg found for Line, which makes communicating with non-English speakers much, much easier, and discussions on the jazz scene in Bangkok, as well as how easy it is to obsess over home renovations. To learn how to become a patron and get all this good stuff, plus full access to over 800 bonus and regular back episodes, click the support button at the top of our website.
Sorry, I've got to break in here with more tangents. I quickly asked AI about this, and I have to follow up on this. So it says, and this is just reading without doing any other research, but it says, the Thai word kari does indeed carry a double meaning. It means curry, borrowed from the same root as the English word curry, itself derived from the Tamil kari, but it's also a well-established Thai slang term for a prostitute or promiscuous woman. It appears in Thai insult lists as gari, meaning whore or slut, and lukari, meaning son of a bitch. So when a Thai menu lists something like chicken curry and someone translates it literally without knowing the culinary context, you can end up with chicken whore on an English menu, which is exactly the kind of thing that happens with naive or machine translation. So there you go.
Funny. So you were correct.
I was correct, sort of. Yeah. Yeah. Don't get used to it. Anyway, if you have a show idea or a comment and just want to say hi, head to bangkokpodcast.com and click the little microphone button on the bottom right. Leave us a voicemail that we will play on the show, especially if you've ever seen the word chicken whore on a menu. We'd love to hear your story about that. All right, on this episode, we wanted to chat about something that's getting a lot of headlines lately, and that is the issue of nominee companies. Now, normally, when you get nominated for something, it's a good thing. It's an honor just to be nominated, actually. But that's not exactly what we mean. Now, there are many parts to Bangkok that operate in the gray areas where commerce and ambition and the struggle to remain here long-term and improvisation overlap. But one issue that's become quite scrutinized a lot lately is the issue of illegal nominee structures. That means Thai companies that look like they're Thai-owned, but are actually controlled by foreign interests, which is a big no-no. Now, especially common in industries like tourism, hospitality, real estate, even education, as we've seen recently, nominee arrangements are seen as a workaround to foreign ownership restrictions, which, let's be honest, can seem pretty arbitrary and silly sometimes, but authorities are cracking down. And Ed, I don't know about you, but even if I owned a legit business right now, I would definitely be checking my paperwork to make sure that everything was on the up and up just to be safe, because it seems like this is causing a lot of waves right now. You've done a little bit of reading into this. So what's your take?
Well, first, let me say this. Although I am an American lawyer, I cannot practice law in Thailand, and nothing I say on the show should be construed as legal advice in Thailand. So,
entertainment purposes only.
Yeah, we are speaking as random schmoes, which is kind of the way the podcast works. But I have become a quote unquote internet or AI expert. So for the last couple of days, I've been reading about this, just like I did with condo prices, and it's one of those things where the basic issue I can explain to you in a minute, but then there's a lot of nuance to it. So let me explain the basic issue. And obviously for long-time expats, you're probably familiar with this, but if you're not a long-timer, you might not be aware of this. And the general reality is that for most businesses in Thailand, foreigners cannot own a majority of a Thai business. Now, there are exceptions and special cases, which maybe we can get into later. But in general, foreigners can only have to own less than 50% of a Thai company. But the truth is that really for a very long time, there have been some ways to get around this in as Greg pointed out, was actually a gray area in the sense that it probably violated the spirit of the law, but it wasn't enforced. So it was something that became very, very common. And the basic kind of workaround is on the company paperwork, you find some Thai citizens who on paper own 51% of the company. But in reality, you just pay them like a small amount of money to use their name or ID, and that's the end of it. So actually they have little or nothing to do with the company. They're not investors. They're not sharing in any of the actual risk that would be true if they were actually 51% stakeholders. And essentially they're just, their interest is actually only on paper. Now, and those people are known as nominees. So the word nominee itself is meant to be a pejorative. In other words, nominee ownership is illegal in Thailand by the letter of the law. In other words, that when you have Thai partners, they're supposed to be true partners, not nominees. So, so foreigners in Thailand are allowed to own 49% of a business. You just need a true Thai partner who actually is putting money in and shares in the risk and might have a controlling interest in the company. But what most foreigners want to do is they don't really want to have Thai partners. They want to come to Thailand and they want to start their own business, which, except for certain special cases, you can't do. So the result is you have paperwork that makes your company look like it's majority Thai owned, but in reality, foreigners are running the whole shebang. So this practice is just known as nominee ownership, and it's something that is shockingly common. I mean shocking. So in the recent research I've been doing, there are some estimates, so no one knows for sure, but there are some estimates that possibly up to 80% of foreign ownership in Thai companies is invalid under a strict interpretation of the law. So it's
80%.
Yeah. So the numbers are shocking. Like, so this arrangement of getting essentially fake Thai owners is incredibly common. Now, again, like I said before, there's a lot of nuance to this. It appears to be more common on islands for some reason. Actually, we've mentioned this before, how islands in Thailand tend to be more lawless. It's like once you get off the mainland, once you're on Samui or Phangan or Samet, it's like it's basically run by the mafia, and it's almost like anything goes. So there's apparently like a shocking number of fake, so these are real companies, but they're essentially run by foreigners with fake nominees. And I think in Bangkok, I'm sure there's a lot, but in Bangkok, it's just you're closer to the center of the government. There's more rule of law in Bangkok than the further away you get.
Well, I think also because they're living on an island. I mean, this primarily applies to foreigners, and foreigners are drawn to the islands. Like it's the dream. I live on a Thai island, and
I want to start a business. Right.
Yeah, I want to start a business. I want to buy some land or whatever like that. I want to have a work permit and a job. So what a lot of people will do is they'll put the owners of the company as like their maid or their friend.
That's right.
Or their driver or something
That's
like
right.
that. So they are Thai people, but they have no interest in involvement in running the company.
I remember when I first learned about this, I was very confused because in the States, so the weird thing about this nominee structure is that you actually are giving a Thai person majority ownership, because they have to be majority owners. So in a way, there's something very Thai about this because it, we've talked many times about how weak the rule of law is in Thailand. It's not non-existent. It's just weaker. And so this is an example of it being weak in two directions. On the one hand, it's weak in that the Thai government is loosely enforcing this, and for 30 years, 40 years, they've been kind of looking the other way, which in my mind makes it almost legal. Like I feel that if the government knows something is happening in large amounts and they don't do anything about it for a long period of time, that then you can't blame foreigners who do it. Like this just becomes the norm. And if you start reading up on the recent crackdown, on this practice, you will see that dozens of law firms are doing this. So these are legitimate lawyers, not shady or what. Like these are just full law firms. Full law firms have been doing this for decades.
Well, this is what we talked about last week on the bonus show about how all the rules around banking are changing. Because if you're a foreigner and you walk into a bank and you say, I want to do this, and they say, oh, all right, because they know there's a law against doing that, but they don't enforce it. And then suddenly 10 years later, you've built your life in Thailand and they go, oh, by the way, your bank account is illegal. Like, that's not my fault. I walked into a bank and I filled out paperwork and you did it. Like, how am I supposed to know the nuances of the law? So people are getting burned.
Yeah, I think the nominee thing is tough because I swear to God, I remember 20 years ago, this is one of those perennial issues that 20 years ago people were saying, hey, these nominee structures are shaky. So it's just an odd thing in that it's extremely common. The Thai government let it go for a long time, but everyone has kind of always known, okay, this is not really, so it's not like something that where the Thai government ever gave it a thumbs up, or where people were like, hey, this is 100% solid. It's just this thing. It's just this thing that it was just so common and so unenforced that it was perceived by a lot of people as very low risk. And essentially, to catch people up to date, I think this might be coming from our relatively new prime minister. I'm not sure the true driving force behind the crackdown, but it's been quite serious. So it's all over the news. And it seems to have focused on the islands first, but I've read some stories in Bangkok as well. They're doing massive raids. I mean, they're basically, the prime minister, I think he was on Pangan, and he had something like 300 police guys raiding, like they were raiding companies that they, because essentially it's an illegal company. So that they basically had a small army of police like going in and physically shutting down businesses based on their research that the paperwork was legitimate. So this is kind of it's kind of like the crackdown on drugs, or every once in a while the Thai government decides to get serious about something, and when they flip a switch, they actually do get serious about it.
Yeah, and I really wish it wasn't like that. And I think every once in a while, every few years, they need to crack the whip, make a few examples, whether that's chasing down people who are here or teaching on fake degrees or don't have work permits or something like that. They just sort of want to keep everyone aware of the fact that, like, hey, we're still here and we're in charge and we can sort of stick our head up at any time. But it creates such an uneven, inconsistent environment to live here for a lot of people.
Agreed.
And I just, like you said, you're a rule of law guy, and the law is the law. Bangkok has more than enough laws to function, to the same standard of strictness and everything as a Western country does. But the lack of enforcement here is just, it has so many knock-on effects, and
Agreed.
it can make life really unpredictable and unpleasant sometimes. The case I mentioned about the school that was operating here, there was an international school that was shut down because they didn't have the right paperwork.
That's right.
And I'm willing to bet that a lot of the teachers that were hired there didn't know this. They just showed up.
Correct.
And started teaching at a new school, and they got caught up in it, and it sucks.
Correct. Well, I want to run through a few of the exceptions because, like I said, there was a lot of nuance here. One interesting fact: if you happen to be an American citizen, the United States and Thailand have something known as the Treaty of Amity, which allows which allows Americans to own 100% of a Thai company. So if you happen to be an American citizen, you are exempted from this problem. Now, I want to be clear, it's harder to set up an amity company, and there are more hoops to jump through and some complications. But if you happen to be an American citizen, you don't have to even attempt to do this kind of nominee structure. So that's a good thing. And then there are other things. There are BOI companies. So essentially, BOI is a division of the Thai government that encourages foreign investment in certain sectors. Now, I think, from what I was reading, BOI has a lot of discretion. It seems to be mostly in tech sectors. So I think the Thai government is worried about, Thailand getting behind, like in AI or just advanced stuff. Thailand is kind of stuck in that middle income trap of manufacturing, and they really want to up their game and do like cutting edge R&D.
Agoda was a BOI company. That's a board of investment. And, it comes with a lot of perks. Like you had a digital work permit instead of a physical work permit book. Even back in the day, you got to use the expressway line at the immigration if you had a BOI visa.
All that stuff is, you're right. I mean, those are perks. But the key thing with BOI is foreigners can own 100% of the company. That's the key thing. So, to keep it on point with what we're talking about. So you can always try to do a BOI. But from what I read about BOI, there's a lot of paperwork. It's a legal avenue, but there's a lot of paperwork, and the government keeps a very close eye on these foreign operated companies through BOI. And then there actually is like another catch-all thing which is just called, I think it's called a foreign business license, where even if you're not American, even if you're not BOI, you can just try to apply and, you know, make an argument. Hey, my company is good for Thailand. Like, you should let me own the whole thing. So there is kind of,
oh really?
Yeah, there is a foreign business license, but apparently that's also bureaucratic. It takes like a couple of years. It's a little bit like getting PR or something. Like, you can just kind of,
oh, I didn't know.
You can just kind of ask the Thai government, hey, can I own this company? I think it's good for Thailand. And then there's some other issues related to like the sector you're working in. So some sectors foreigners are just barred from doing. So again, it's complicated, but my intro summary is basically true. In most cases, as a foreigner, you can't own the majority of a company, and in that case, you need Thai partners. But the key here is you can do it if you're willing to actually have true Thai partners. The thing is, if you have true Thai partners, then the bottom line is they might have some controlling stake in the company. So for example, if your sister-in-law or your maid or your Thai buddy from work, if they actually had the capital put in and you trusted them, then there's no problem. So then they're not nominees. As long as they're actually putting the money in and they do have a true controlling interest, then you can do it. So foreigners, we can own, I guess it would be 49.999. So you can do it. It's just the Thai partners have to be real Thai partners, like actual investors, and not just, you know, like
names
honestly,
on paper.
I've never set up one of these fake companies, but just over the years, various friends of mine or associates or people asking, I mean, I've heard of, you know, basically they just find a Thai person and pay them like 1,000 baht. You know, I mean, like this is very common. You find a Thai person, like you don't even have to know them that well. And it's like, hey, I'll give you 1,000 baht if you sign this and make a copy of your ID. And they actually become a shareholder in the company, but they don't know anything about it. And actually, I kind of forgot I went on like a massive tangent, but I was going to say that it's weird how the rule of law can work in different directions. Like on the one hand, the foreigners are getting away with something they're not supposed to. But the other weird thing is these Thai people are actually given controlling interest in companies that they just ignore. So
they have actually all the power if they actually wanted to exercise
that's
it.
Right. That's why it's like, but this is how Thai people are they're so nice and reasonable. And it's like, sure, I'll sign this thing. Actually, when they sign it, you're giving them, it depends on how your share structure is, whatever. But it's like a lot of times, your maid or your driver or your sister-in-law, they actually own the majority of your company. It's actually their company. It's actually their company, right?
It'd be funny if like a maid and your driver got together and hired a lawyer and came back to like some rich German guy and was like, hey, by the way, everything is ours now.
Well, no, that's what this was my first. No, this is what I remember, 25 years ago when I first was reading about this. I was thinking, wait a minute. This doesn't make sense to me. How is this good for the foreigner? Because you're giving ownership to people who on paper are the actual owners. They have that legal right. But it just shows you how like Thai people just don't see it that way. They're like, why would I ever want to assert control? I'm trying to do this guy a favor.
Yeah, like I'm helping him.
Yeah, like why would I ever want to assert my legal rights?
God, let's hope the maids of Thailand don't sort of get wise and start hiring lawyers.
That's exactly right. In the US, it's all about asserting your legal rights.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's interesting.
There's a couple other twists to this, and this is a darker angle to the crackdown. So basically, especially on the islands, there's certain communities of foreigners that seem to proliferate or dominate certain islands, and so so part of the crackdown, it has I don't think it's fair to call it racism, but some of the crackdown has, and it's not even fair to call it bias either, because it is the Thai government deciding to enforce the law. It's just that, for example, on Pangan, apparently there's just a huge Israeli population, and the Thai government has just like had enough of, apparently a lot of the businesses on Pangan are basically just owned and run by Israelis, and they just, there's just fake nominee structures. There was a quite a big story about, actually it was an international school. It was actually similar to your example, but it was kids, so it was, it's like a 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds. So hundreds of kids are at this school, and it's just basically run by Israelis. And the cops show up, and there's just no Thai people involved whatsoever in the whole operation. It's basically an Israeli school.
Yeah.
On Pangan. And, of course they have on paper, they have Thai owners, but they're just like ghosts. And so the government just shuts it down. But so, I mean, your point is right that a lot of innocent people, like, who knows? So obviously maybe the Israelis who set this up, they knew they were doing something shady. But I'm sure most of the parents who are sending their kids to the school have no idea that the legal structure of the school they're sending the kid to is on shaky ground.
Right. I sent my kid to a school, and when I showed up and did the whole thing with the interviews and stuff like that, I didn't ask to see their ownership structure and paperwork and stuff like that. Yeah. I just trusted that they were a legit school.
That's right. And since I think of myself as a rule of law guy, it is an interesting question of how do you handle, like, what would be the right way to handle this? And here's the best thing I can come up with. So you have some laws on the books. They haven't really been enforced, or maybe there's some ambiguity that, allows people to get away with stuff. The government looks the other way for a long time. Everyone knows about it. So this nominee thing has just been an open secret. So to me, the best way for the government to handle it is to make some kind of notice, like instead of just showing up with 300 cops and starting to shut down businesses, you basically just send out notices to all these companies, and you say, okay, it's our understanding that here's the situation. We're going to give you 3 months or 6 months or whatever to clarify this, to fix it. But then in 6 months, we're going to show up and shut you down. To me, that would be the fairest thing. So if you haven't been enforcing, essentially the government could make a notice and say, we're going to start doing our job. You know what I mean? We have woken up. Does that make sense? Like, that would be, I think, the fair way to handle, like, to give people notice and say, okay, look, we understand what you're doing. A lot of people are doing what you're doing. It's been going on forever, but it's actually against the law. So we're going to give you some time. We're giving you notice right now, like January 1st, 2026. But by August 1st, you better be legal. You better have real Thai partners. Otherwise, we're going to shut you down. I mean, is that the fairest way to handle it? What do you think?
No, I agree. 100%. But I also think what that would do was just force people to get even more creative. And come on, like, there's always going to be people who put 500 hours into figuring out how to get out of 10 hours of real work.
That's what lawyers do for a living.
You're right. But I think that's a fair compromise. But it does lead me to one question, like, why are foreigners not allowed to own companies in Thailand? Is it the same in the States or Canada? I don't know. I'm not a business-minded person. But what's the big deal if a foreigner owns a company in Thailand? Okay,
great question. And I think the answer is that the foreign investment is supposed to benefit Thai people in the end. And I think they're worried that entirely foreign-owned businesses, all the profits are going to foreigners as opposed to Thai partners. And so it's a tricky question. I remember you and I talked when we were doing our stuff on tourism. We were talking about, like, essentially these. I think it's probably the same nominee scam where Chinese people come in, they find fake Thai partners, open up a travel agency. All their customers are Chinese, and essentially all the profits are go outside of Thailand. So
Right. They were called $0 tours because they were selling them at cost and then doing high pressure sales tactics while they were in Thailand.
that's right.
At places that were working with the place anyway. So
That's right.
it was like a closed system.
Yeah. No, so now if they had real Thai partners, then those Thai partners would be able to stop because they would have majority ownership. They'd be able to be like, hey, where are the partners? Where's the profits? And so essentially the issue here is Thailand and Thai people actually really benefiting from the foreign ownership. And that's why there are the exceptions. So the BOI exists because they're saying, hey, in these certain sectors, we need this technology so much that we're going to let foreigners own most of the company. And of course, I'm sure the BOI realizes that a lot of Thai people are going to get jobs from it as well.
Right.
So in the case of the BOI or like a foreign business license, they're just going to look at the specific case to figure out if this actually is good for Thailand or not. But I think the U.S. is pretty free market oriented compared to the rest of the world. So I don't think we have restrictions outside of sensitive things like communications and national security issues. In the U.S., you can fly in and on a tourist visa and buy land and leave. In the U.S., money talks in the U.S.
Here's another question. How do they define nominee? Because the difference between a Thai maid owning 51% of a company and like a Thai MBA who's really involved owning 51% of the company, on paper, they're exactly the same. It's a Thai person with a majority ownership in a company. Now, what the difference is that the Thai maid probably doesn't know what's going on and doesn't really take an interest in actually playing a role in the management of the company, but the MBA guy does. So on paper, they're really not that different. It's just how they act.
Mr. Greg,
You know what I mean?
You're smarter than you look. That's a very good question.
I've been told that. I can't remember by who.
Well, I mean, you hit on the exact key point, is that in the past, they just treated the paperwork the same. They just looked on paper and they said, okay, Thai person, Thai thing. It says they invested X amount of money. It says they have voting rights. So all the papers in order. So that's how it was in the past. But the new crackdown is they're actually going beneath the surface and, kind of doing investigative legal work to figure out, like, is there proof the person actually has the money that they put in? Are they exercising voting rights? Corporations have rules about they have to have a certain number of meetings per year. So they're actually. So if you want, it's funny. As a lawyer, the law that I like is the exact type of law that makes the least amount of money. So I'm really into like American constitutional law. Like the bread and butter law is business law. So if you want to make money, you become a corporate lawyer. And I know nothing. I had to study it in law school and then I forgot it all. But I'll throw out some. I do remember a little bit of law school lingo for you listeners. So I'm flashing my legal knowledge here. Piercing the corporate veil is something I do remember from my corporations class. And piercing the corporate veil means like getting behind some type of fake paperwork. It means like, okay, the paperwork looks good, but we're going to like pop this bubble and figure out what's really going on. And I think the Thai government they're piercing the corporate veil. They're seeing that, okay, this is like a bullshit arrangement. These Thai people never put any money in. They never show up at meetings. They don't do any voting. And this really, and the foreigners are taking all the profits. So basically you have to investigate. So you have to get off your ass. So the Thai government now is getting off their ass.
So it's not just putting your name down. It's actually, you've got to show up for meetings. You've got to show you have to put money in. You have to. There's got to be a paper trail of your actual involvement.
Oh yeah, I mean, like to own, you have to put money in. So obviously, there should be a money transfers. Like there should be, So if you allegedly invested 5 million baht in my company, then the Thai government, with their investigative powers, they can figure out, well, did you actually do that or not?
Right. Right. Yeah.
Or they can ask you to prove it. So what they're doing, I think now, is they're just contacting thousands. So I guess maybe this is a good way to wrap it up. This is an epically widespread problem. Like, it's just the actual numbers involved are insane. And if they stick to this, you and I have talked many times about how the Thai government decides to enforce something and they do it for 2 weeks, like,
right.
If they stick to this, it will change expat and foreigner life in Thailand. Like, if they stick to this, it's absolutely huge. Like, this is an epically widespread problem. And so what it really means is, half of foreign businesses in Thailand are half of businesses where foreigners or investors might have to close. So this is a gigantic issue if they stick to it.
That's a crazy stat, but I'm still going to play like pessimist here and think that like this kind of stuff has been going on since I was an English teacher with my own fake visa.
For sure.
Back in the day,
For sure.
And it's going on now. And I think it's a cat and mouse thing. If they sort of crack down over here, there's going to be some entrepreneurial Thai group of people who figure out another loophole over here that they can do. So I don't think it's ever going to go away, but it's interesting that they're making a big push now, and it will affect a ton of people because, probably all of the foreigners who set the company up are in on the gag. But not everyone involved in the company is.
For sure. No, you're right. And it could, I mean, I think you basically pointed this out. It could end up being bad for Thailand in the sense that if they scare foreign investment away too much, trying to figure out how to structure this and how seriously to crack down is going to be tough. Because if half of foreign businesses have to close, that's going to end up being bad for Thailand. Because a lot of these, just because you have a nominee structure, it doesn't mean that your company is not benefiting Thailand. That's just the worst case scenario. Like, a lot of these foreign businesses that have this, gray area, let's say, to be polite, nominee structure, they actually have a lot of Thai employees, and the company can be benefiting Thailand in many ways.
Yeah, you're right. And as you're saying that, I just typed really quickly, can foreigners own a company in Malaysia? According to AI, they can. So it's something that they've got to weigh against their neighbors too, because like Malaysia has visas that are much easier to get if foreigners are allowed to 100% own companies.
Cambodia is super easy. They're super pro foreign ownership. Our buddy Trevor, it's super easy. But Cambodia's got more problems than Thailand has. So this is a tightrope. This is a tightrope, but as a rule of law guy, I'm glad they're actually trying to enforce the law now. Like, I know it's creating a hardship for a lot of people, and I understand why people think it's not fair because it's been unenforced for a long time. But now notice is out. Like, this is all over the news. It's the number one story among expats right now.
I just hope it's a sign of consistency. That's what we want. It's consistency.
Agreed. Greg, you are becoming a rule of law guy. We're on the same page here.
Pretty soon I'm going to be taking gummies before bedtime and going to jazz clubs.
I know we don't want to go that far.
Interesting. Well, everyone be careful out there. Make sure you're abiding by the law. I think Ed and I have both been burned in some way or another trying to take shortcuts, and it's not fun. So, I say, as an old man, do things legitimately as much as you can. It's
Agreed.
Just so much easier.
Get a good lawyer who's not going to bend the law.
Yeah, one who can work in Thailand. All right, let's get into Love, Loathe, or Live With, where one of us picks a particular aspect of living in Bangkok, which we discuss to decide if it's something we love about living here, loathe about living here, or have come to accept as something that we just have to learn to live with no matter how we feel about it. And this week, Ed, what do you got for me?
All right, I have a very modern question for you. This relates to our mutual obsession with AI, but it also applies to maybe just Google Translate.
All right.
So my question to you is this: What do you think about speaking Thai with AI or Google Translate out loud?
I've never tried it, actually. Never tried it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I should, I mean, this should be something, obviously talking to a real live Thai person would be a good thing to do, but obviously you don't always have a real live Thai person to speak Thai with.
Yeah.
And I remember back, last year, Stu J was saying that he thought Google Gemini's spoken Thai was not bad.
Really?
But I can't do it. I feel so awkward. So I've tried to have conversations in Thai and work on my Thai out loud. I'm into my app, my like vocabulary building app, but I just can't get in the habit of speaking Thai with out loud, with a computer.
Wow, I've never even thought about trying it. That's fascinating.
Dude, you can do it. It actually is good. I mean, it's really my bad, but I'm sure basically ChatGPT can do it. Like we should be talking to our phones out loud to improve our Thai.
That is very interesting. Does it laugh at you? Like, let's switch to English.
Does it mock my Thai? No, it doesn't mock my Thai. I just I don't know. I just don't like it. It just feels it's for some reason it's more awkward than talking to a real person. You think it would be less embarrassing because it's not alive,
I'm gonna have to try it and let you know how it goes. But that's really interesting. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I got to admit, I'm basically a loathe. I hate it. I hate speaking Thai with with my phone. But I mean, if I keep doing it, maybe I can get over with it. If I keep doing it, maybe I can get over it because it should be a good thing. But I just don't like it.
It'd be so funny if some programmer made it go like you said, like "sawat de crap," and it went "sawat de crap." Just like
mocking.
Oh man, mocking you. Have you seen that video online where someone goes, they've edited it, and it's such a stupid joke, but it's done so well. And a guy looks at a tree and he goes, "Hey, is that a mockingbird?" And then you see a little bird and he goes, "Hey, is that a mockingbird?"
That is actually funny.
It's so funny. Anyway.
All right, so Greg's going to tap out on that one, but I'm a loath.
Yeah, okay. I'll let you know how I feel.
A final thanks to our patrons who support the show. Patrons get a ton of cool perks and the warm, fuzzy feeling knowing that they're helping in our never-ending quest for cool content. Find out more by clicking support on our website. And connect with us online. We're Bangkok Podcast on social media, bangkokpodcast.com on the web, or simply bangkokpodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from our listeners and always reply to our messages, unless, of course, you're an agent who sends endless pitch emails on behalf of a client.
That's right. You can also listen to each episode on YouTube. Send us a voicemail through our website. We'll feature that on the show. Find me on Blue Sky, BKK Greg. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we will see you back here next week. Okay. Just keep it simple. On this episode, we dive into the topic of Thai nominees in foreign-controlled business.